Shorts? Tick. Sunglasses? Tick. Half-price summer check? Tick. If your Ford is 4 years or older, bring it to the Ford Motorcraft Reunion. And for only $9.99, trusted Ford-trained technicians will do a comprehensive 30-point check and aircon refresh. Plus great offers on servicing, tyres, accessories and more. To book, see ford.co.uk/reunion. Participating Ford dealers, T's and C's apply. Available until June 20th.
Blog Talk Radio. This is NLPI Radio. You're listening to NLPI Radio.
Oh, yeah, it's Friday the 15th of April 2016, and this is Mickey Gocool. This is also the Friday Night Paranormal Show, and tonight I'm going to be talking to a good friend of mine. His name is Gareth Winn, and he is the senior ranger at Lee Valley, the guy that is in charge of Rye House Gatehouse, an amazing location in Hertfordshire. If you've not been there, if you've not heard of it, then you will tonight, because tonight is about that particular house and something that happened to us during investigation that we had there. It's a really nice place, really, really active place. You've got to go down there. Is it on the par with 30 East Drive? We'll find out later on. Paul Rook is also joining me on the show from Wednesday's Paranormal Uncovered. He's going to be here having a chat with Gareth. And, of course, my show wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for my little co-host that I always have. So I'm going to introduce no stranger to NLPI Radio. In fact, this young lady was the one that launched the whole series of NLPI shows in 2016, and her name is Sherry. So, Sherry, are you there, sweetheart? Where are you?
I am here. Hi, Mickey.
Yay! Yay!
I love
Sherry,
a round of applause.
Yeah, you get a round of applause. I've got to say, your Monday night show, absolutely fantastic show, and unfortunately, calm down, guys, calm down. Unfortunately, the boys took over, didn't they? They kind of took.
The boys and you took over. Can we just say? And I had to get Rachel in to just have a bit of female backup because my show was hijacked by you guys. So thanks for that.
Sorry.
We hijacked your show.
You did. It was all right. It was a laugh. It was fine.
It was a good show. And I think the reason the boys hijacked your show is because they really wanted you with me on the Friday night because they just hate hearing my voice. I think everybody hates hearing my voice. So it's really good that we've got your voice tonight because without you, it wouldn't be Mickey Gocool and guest. It would just be Mickey Gocool talking for an hour about a load of gobbledygook and bollylops. So I'm glad you're here because we can bounce off each other.
We can.
We can. I like that. I like bouncing off each other, don't you?
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not saying a word.
That's my bouncing off you. Yes, Gareth Winn, senior ranger from Lee Valley. I forgot. From Lee Valley Rangers in not the football team or cycling team or anything like that. He's a proper ranger, and he's in charge of a location which is Rye House in Hertfordshire, and that is a spooky little place. I can tell you. When I say spooky, it's got a lot of history. Now Gareth's going to come along in a few moments' time and tell us all about that history. All about it. So stay tuned because he's got a lot to say. And also he's going to tell us a bit more about his experiences. But you know what I do on a Friday? I always like to have a bit of fun, Sherry. You know me.
I do.
So there is one presenter that normally makes his dulcet tones known to us on a Friday, but he's not here tonight. Can you guess his name?
Would that be Steve?
Would it be Steve? It could be Steve. In fact, here's a tribute. If you've ever listened to Steve's show, Paranormal Uncovered with Paul Rook, on a Wednesday, you'll realise that he's got this phrase that he keeps saying over and over again. So I thought it was appropriate and apt to record a tribute. Even.
Whoa. Hold on, what was that? A what?
A tribute.
A tribute.
A tribute. A tribute to him. And my apologies, guys. You can turn the song, the volume down for the next 3 minutes or so if your ears can't handle this. But it's going to be an absolute train wreck. But this is for you, Steve, and he knows what I'm talking about. And Paul's going to be wetting himself in the green room over there when you hear this. But we'll be back in a few minutes. Going to bring Gareth on. We're going to bring Paul Rook on, and we're going to talk about ghosts and more ghosts just after this.
Stephen, they call me BBC Collier. You know I try, but I just can't help saying bits and bobs. Hope I don't go on and on, cause I really need a pee. Cause I need one more shot at what's in the box. I know you know that I say it while I'm on GTA Online. I like bits and bobs and I'll say it a couple of 100 times. So let me please let me say it again tonight. Cause I need one more shot at what's in the box. Is it not cool to say bits and bobbies? Cause I'm missing it more than your body. Is it not cool to say bits and bobbies? Yeah, I know that I say it loads. Is it okay to say boobies now? I'll go and I'll do another boo. Oh, say the words bits and boobies. Boobies? Is it not cool to say bits and bobbies? Cause I'm missing it more than your body. Is it not cool to say bits and bobbies? Yeah, I know that I say it loads. Is it okay to say boobies now? Bobbies. Bits and bobbies. Bits and bobbies. Yeah, I know that I say it loads. Is it okay to say bits and boobies now?
I honestly, I have no words. Honestly, right? How long did that take you? And like, did you just sit at home and just record that?
Yeah,
in your living room?
Yeah, well, we've got this little studio set up. So what we did was just. What did we do, Kate? We kind of sat down and we just thought about something that something that Paul had said earlier on about a competition to guess how many times Steve would say bits and bobbies in the TV show or bits and bobs on a show. Sorry. So we thought let's go one better. So I think we had about 45 minutes to rewrite it and re-record it and so on. It was sung terribly because I can't sing, so it was just like an idea that we put together, and I'm sure he's gonna hate me for it.
Is he listening to this now, or is he gonna listen back to this and send you death threats?
He's going to listen back to this and probably send me death threats. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting when we're at our next haunted location. But yeah, just to kick off the Friday night paranormal show with myself and Sherry, we're here in the nice and warm in our lovely cozy studio, and we've got in the green room I can see Paul Rook, who's gone to the Gareth said he's gone to the toilet because he wet himself a little bit because of that. But no worries, he'll be back. There's some spare pants in the other room there. You can use those. I think they're Rachel's, but you can use them. Gareth is here. Yeah, Gareth Winn from Lee Valley. He is the man to speak to about this location, and we'll be talking to him in a few moments' time. But before we do that, what I'm going to do, I've got. Do you know what? I'm going to play the. Shall I play the interview? Yeah, let me play Gareth's interview. I think that he did on BBC Three Counties Radio the other morning, and I think it was a fantastic interview. Actually, no, I'm not going to do the interview. I'll do that later on. I'm going to bring Gareth in because it makes more sense to do that. So Ladies and gents, without further ado, will you please welcome Mr. Gareth Winn?
Hi,
hello,
Mickey,
sir.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm very good. Even they love you already, mate. They've even given you a round of applause. So,
Brilliant.
good stuff. Well, first of all, I've got to say good evening. Thank you for joining us. And also, have you met Sherry?
Briefly in the green room. So yeah, cool.
She's very tame. She's very tame.
No,
She's
I'm not.
polite, but
I'm not.
I
crazy.
wouldn't cross her. I would not cross her if I was you.
Right, I will. I'll make sure I don't do that.
Good stuff. Well, listen, Gareth, first of all, I want to say thank you for joining us tonight. And secondly, I want to know more about, well, I know a little bit about Rye House. I don't know too much. But what I want to know is I want to know, I want to know the history from you, someone that's very passionate about that location. And I want to kind of let our listeners know how our relationship has developed in relation to this property and how we got involved. So, first of all, where is Rye House and what's so significant about it?
Well, Rye House is in Hoddesdon, which is in Hertfordshire. And it is a very old fortified manor house surrounded by a moat. It was built by a Danish knight who used to fight in the 100 Years' War against the French on behalf of the British, or the English, and he started to build it in 1443. So it's an incredibly old building. It's made of bricks, so that was quite unusual at the time. Most of the castles and houses were built from stone, but it was a new technology at the time and it was very expensive. So Rye House was one of the first buildings in this country to be built with bricks. And it was also fortified. And you've seen how thick the walls are. You're looking at about between 2.5 feet to 3 feet thick. So it was built to withstand an assault. So it's a very historical building. It was the family home of the Parr family. And as you know, Catherine Parr was the 6th wife of Henry VIII. So she used to live there. So there's a lot of history surrounded there. It was also the plot to kill Charles II, and there was a plot called the Rye House plot to assassinate him that wasn't successful, and everybody who was involved in that plot was either put to death or escaped the country and went to France. So it's a very historical house, and there's so much activity that could be there. And then for a certain period of time, there wasn't very much history. It just carried on. And then up until the 19th century, it was a workhouse, so for the poor. So you've got a wide range of uses of the house. And then near the start of the 20th century, it was a pleasure garden. So a lot of tourists came out along the canal to go and visit the pleasure garden. And then in the 50s, it went into disrepair and burnt down, and all that's left is the actual fortified gatehouse.
Which is a wonderful, fantastic building. It's a real shame, really, that the rest of it doesn't stand today. But there is, within the grounds, there are marks where it's kind of guesstimated where the other rooms were. Is that right?
That's right, yes. So you can actually walk outside the building, and we've plotted out where the original the buildings were, where the kitchen was, where the hall was, where the scullery was. So that's plotted out, and that was plotted out in the 1980s. But what I'm looking to do, hopefully this year, and I'll involve North London Paranormal, is we're going to do some geophys there and do some ground radar and try to work out exactly what used to be there. Are the buildings in the right place? And there's also a story of a tunnel there and extensive dungeons under the ground. So we want to see if they're still there as well. So that's what I'm planning on doing in the summer.
Sounds exciting. Sounds really exciting.
It is.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, ground penetrating radar is pretty good when it comes to paranormal investigations, because you then realise that if people have had activity in a particular spot, and then you find out that room was possibly a bedroom or a hall, it makes it even more fascinating, because although the structure isn't actually still there, the fact is that the footprint of it is there where it was. So that's where the activity has taken place. And we're talking about paranormal activity because obviously this is a paranormal show and it's the Friday night, so it's my show. And we've got Sherry as well. So, Sherry, hopefully we've set the scene of this lovely, wonderful Grade 1 listed gatehouse in Hertfordshire. Do you have any questions?
I guess. Not off the top of my head, but I mean, the question I ask everybody, if I ever meet anybody, is, do you believe in ghosts? So, I know obviously you work there and you know a lot about the history and you're passionate about it, but do you actually believe in ghosts or not?
I'm open-minded. I suppose I do believe, but I need to get some proof. And doing paranormal, having paranormal investigations at the house, and I do try to make sure that I'm the ranger on duty, just so I can try to experience everything that the house has to offer. And that's been quite an eye-opener. I started, because I used to manage Valence Manor House and Eastbury Manor House in Buchan and Dagenham. I used to the responsibility for the heritage sites, and they used to run paranormal investigations there, and that's how I got interested in the paranormal. So I would help them out on their paranormal activities. So yeah, I've seen some interesting things. I haven't seen a ghost, but I haven't. I suppose you get people who say they've been touched by spirits or pushed or poked or whatever. That's never happened to me. Also, some people, and Mickey can vouch for this, can become sick in an investigation. So I've never experienced that, but I have experienced seeing people taken over by a supposed spirit in the room and collapse in front of me. That both happened at Valence Manor House and also at Rye House. So it's I'm interested in it.
Any more questions, Sherry?
Not off the top of my head, because to be honest with you, I don't really know anything. It's not my area. I don't really get out of the Midlands very often, so I don't really know much about the place. So at this point,
do you know what? I know what it's like. A lot of my friends have those tags from the police on them as well, so I do understand what you're talking about.
So funny.
But you should come down one weekend. I think you should come down and investigate this location, because it is a really fascinating and interesting place. And I know someone that just lives around the corner, as you're many, many miles away. Paul Rook is here tonight, and he lives in Essex, so he's not too far away. And I believe he's actually making inquiries to come and do some investigating of his own. Is that right, Paul?
Hi, Mickey. Yep, it is, absolutely. I'm quite intrigued. Obviously, I've seen what's in the press lately, and I want to learn more. I have spoken to Gareth previous to that as well about hiring it for an event, but I'm more interested in it from a paranormal investigator's point of view than running events in there.
It's a great location. When I say great location, you've got a little bit of space around you. There's not too many cars travelling by, and if there are, it's few and far between. There's a nice pub across the road, which is a nice little pub, Paul. But then, and you've got the river at the end. So on a summer's night, this will be a fantastic place to have an investigation. With people taking regular breaks outside and enjoying the warm nights. But Gareth will kind of mention that the first time we were there, Gareth, when we wrapped up, we did a bit of filming, if you remember. And when we was wrapping up the filming, there was a police car in the car park,
This is very true. Yeah.
We went to have a chat with the police officers, just like you do, light-hearted chat. Is there anything wrong? What's going on? And they were there deliberately because what we do, I mean, just for those that don't know, when we visit a location, we always let the local authority and the police service know that we are there in case they get calls that there's lights being seen, people hanging around, etc. They're aware and they can put it in their incident report book. So that, anyone coming on duty later on at night will see that there are people in and around a location. So we do that as a matter of course. I don't know if anyone else does it, but if you don't, it's good practice. It saves police.
That's something we do as well.
It's just good practice. And we did that on one occasion.
I have been on an investigation with another team. It was at the Ragged School in London. And we actually had the police knocking because they see all our torch lights on, and they wondered what was going on. And the passerby phoned the police. It was quite amusing.
I would imagine, mate. I would imagine. Imagine someone knocking at the door. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there?
But yeah, passerby just see all our torches going on and off, and then they thought it was being burgled. And they rang the police, and the police turned up, a big riot van outside.
Nice.
Yeah, excellent.
That's exactly the reason why we do that. And that's why the police officers were there waiting for us in the car park, because they wanted to talk to us about their own experiences. They were very keen to tell us about the amount of times that that they've visited that location, because it's quite it's not really out the way, but it is kind of out the way. It's not stuck in the middle of like nuclear bunker, for example. It's not that rural, but it is out the way that you could get people on the premises and other shenanigans going on. So it is a regular place for police officers on their patrol, and they've reported that they've seen what they believe suspects are on premises. They reported seeing lights even on the battlements, Gareth. Is that right?
Yeah. But there's lots of stories about seeing, I don't know, like orbs or lights, large lights on the battlements themselves. And on the night when we met with the police officers, I was the last person out of the building, and it probably was about 10:30 at night. I think we left.
Yeah.
And I was locking up, and we left. And as we walked away, the police could see lights, like a lantern, on the roof at that time. And there was nobody else in the building. The building was locked up. Everybody was accounted for, and there was nobody on the roof. And that coincides with other sightings that have happened throughout the years of seeing a light on the battlement. It could be traffic, coming over the bridge, and the lights lighting up the battlement. So there's that possibility, but they didn't think it was that. It was they said it was like a lantern light. Or a torch light or whatever. It was quite prominent, and that just links in with other reports which have carried on for quite a few years.
Now, am I right in saying that you regularly have alarm activations at Rye House?
We do. We had one, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. Again, the police were called, and the whole premises was secure. The locks were on the outside. There was no tampering with the windows, and we have bars on the windows, so you can't get through. And as it is a fortified building, you're not going to be able to climb up. It's too high to get up into the battlements. So the alarm went off. The police were called. It was all secure. So the next morning, I had the alarm company come out to check it, and everything was fine. There was nothing that would have set it off. They checked all the sensors to see if there's any cobwebs on the sensors, anything with the window sensors, and it was fine. But we did have an experience there. As you know about the watchman, we do know his name, and when you mention it, if you mention his name, it can attract his attention, and it did that morning. And and the your temperature drops around you, the hairs on the back of your arms and your neck, and it happened to move from me, and then it went to the guy who was doing the alarm, and he didn't stay long. He decided to leave very, very quickly because he just didn't like that sensation that you were being watched.
Yeah, there are a lot of sensations that are experienced at the gatehouse. I mean, I remember having a sight recce with you walking outside the building, and there was one particular spot which is outside on a footpath where we both had a reaction. Can you remember what that was?
Yeah, we were coming over the drawbridge and heading over to collect the rest of the team from the pub that were waiting for us. And was it a number you said? Was it because we were just discussing something? I can't exactly remember what we were discussing, but as soon as we said it, the temperature dropped, and it was like incredible electric static on one spot. And you're out in walking along a path with grass all around you. There was no pylons or anything like that to give you that static. And again, it was just in one small area, wasn't it?
It was just bizarre, because even as you walked out of the area, you can feel that that area is it just felt more dense.
Yeah,
does that make sense? It just felt so dense, and I'd hate to be in a room full of whatever that was, but it did feel really strange, because the arms, the hairs on your arms were standing up, and that feeling of just pure static. It was the strangest feeling I felt in a long time. So,
and where the house is built, it's an ancient site. It was an Anglo-Saxon settlement as well, and it was the only dry area surrounded by a marsh. So it's been used for well over 1,000 years, and before as a settlement. And it was a very prominent area, so you've got a lot of history that goes before the house as well. So you just don't know what you've got there.
Paul, you do a lot of investigations at, like old forts and places like that. Is there anywhere that you've been to that comes to mind that has that kind of a feeling? That you get that kind of,
the only place I can think of would be Fort Amherst in Chatham. Their gatehouse is quite active, and it's probably, I think, is the most active part of the fort. Again, it's also built on top of the old Saxon village of Chatham. It's like the initial village. So it's sort of got that in common with Rye. But I think the tunnels are done to death by investigators, but the gatehouse isn't investigated that often. So if you do get a chance to do Fort Amherst and you get into the gatehouse, you're in for a really good night. Absolutely. But I think it's got a lot of similarities to Rye in regards to the activity.
In what way? Do you get sort of cold spots?
Yeah, you get cold spots, you get noises.
Black shadows.
Yep, you get all the black shadows. You also get a very strong smell of fire or burning.
Yeah, we get that in Rye House.
It's all that sort of activity. I mean, I took part in a Ouija board session in the gatehouse at Fort Amherst, and we got this. It was like a metallic whistling coming from one of the corners of the room, and there was nothing there, no machinery or anything that could have caused it. There was only a few people in the room at the same time, so I don't think it was any of those. So to this day, that's something that we can't explain. We've had people being felt or touched on the legs. There are some areas in the gatehouse that you get feelings of, it don't want you there, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Quite a negative feeling. But they got like bunks in the gatehouse as well. So obviously, I would have assumed when it was in use that the guards would take it in turns to sleep in there as well. So maybe that's where it stems from. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's got a lot of similarities. So yeah, absolutely. I'm quite looking forward to going to Rye House. To be fair.
It's a really good place. What about you, Sherry? Is there any particular place up in your little neck of the woods that you don't really escape from too much? Is there anywhere? That's not exactly true, because I remember you being in London the other week, and somewhere else the other week, and somewhere else the other week, and somewhere else the other week. In fact,
yeah, I get around for like hobbies and stuff, but we don't really go very far for investigations. I mean, like, this year so far, the furthest away we've been is Kidderminster, and that's like an hour. So, I mean, the furthest we've been ever is Edinburgh, but like that was a one-off. But we're venturing out further in the year. We're venturing further away, so we're not like recluses or something. You're making us out to be like hobbits or something.
No, just you, my dear.
Just me.
But...
yeah, I mean, to answer your actual question, instead of just insulting me and calling me a recluse, no. To be honest, we've not been to too many places that are like forts or sort of castle-type buildings. The one place that does spring to mind, and when Paul was just talking then, and then obviously Gareth backed it up about the burning smell, it's interesting because one of the places that we have done quite a few times now is Dudley Castle. We're quite familiar with it. We're quite familiar with the activity that goes on there and the history of the place. And it's interesting that you guys said about smelling burning, and it seems to be a trend with these kind of buildings that if there has been a significant fire, that one of the most prominent things that people smell on investigations is the burning and the fire. Because Dudley Castle, I don't know whether you guys know about the building or if you've ever been there or anything, it's smack bang in the centre of the zoo that they built around it. So if you ever go to the zoo, you can go straight up to the castle. Half of the castle that was built for Lady Jane Grey burnt down before she ever even used it. And one of the spirits that is there is of a man that died in the fire. And when he's around, people constantly smell the burning and the charred smell that you would get, but it burnt down like 400 years ago, so it's not like that smell would be still hanging around in the air naturally. So it's an interesting one.
I can't work that one out really, because there's a lot of people that smell odours and all kind of things, and it's really strange because you can be living in a house or you can be working in a property for years and years and years, and then you get that sudden smell, and then you get something else that happens as well, like something will move, and it usually when there's a smell, there's an occurrence. I don't know if anyone's just had the smell and then thought, okay, well that was weird, but usually there's an occurrence that takes place as well. So it is interesting for me that I've smelled that burning smell a few times, and I've also smelled other smells that I can't actually put my finger on, and it's nothing to do with Steve Collier, I can assure you.
He's going to hate you so much. He's going to hate you so much when he listens back.
Oh, he never listens to our show, so we know we're safe. But the smell, but it's interesting because I was listening to one of the shows the other day. Rachel Darby said that she could smell oranges.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that the other day. Didn't somebody say in the comment section on that? Because I think that was on my show. I can't remember. I think it was on my show that she said that. And she said she always smells oranges when she goes to this particular place. And somebody else in the comments said that that's a smell that you're supposed to smell before you die. And then Rachel got scared. So I don't know why they told her that.
To scare her.
They might have been a medium, I think, full of doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Full of doom and gloom. But we do get smells in locations, and whether they're paranormal or not, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because you can't actually grab a smell and put it in a box and take it away and analyze it. You just can't. So you have to go with your nose and work out what it smells like and kind of find a reason for that. There could be damp spots. There could be a number of reasons. It could be some old wood that's been cosmetically covered up that could have been burnt. But I don't believe that would be the case because it would make the building unsafe.
Well, it does be, because obviously we've been there quite a few times now. I spent quite a bit of time. There's only one part of it that was the burnt down part, and you can go in and you can have a look around. And obviously the stone structure still stands almost untouched, and then all of the wood that would have made the floors and the ceilings and stuff was burnt. But you go in there and there are no timbers left. There is nothing sticking out of the walls. They've completely cleared away because it's open to the public during the day, and because it's a picnic spot when you get up to the top of the zoo, and like all the big the grounds and stuff. Everyone takes their kids in there, so they're not going to leave old bits of wood from the fire like 300 years ago lying around. So there's nothing that would be around that area after all this time that would retain that smell of the original fire. And even the fireplaces have been swept out, and you can look up the fireplace and see the sky and stuff. So I don't really find an explanation for why these buildings that have had fires, other than it being paranormal, I can't see another reason why it would retain the smell after all this time, and why it would happen. And then, like you said, with smells, you then get an occurrence or something happens afterwards. Why does it happen? I don't know.
Yeah, why do the two kind of coincide together?
But then would the smell also be stuck in the brickwork? So, for example, you've got a fireplace or something.
But does that, solid stone, does that retain the smell of, I mean, it's going to sound weird. Next time I go, I'm going to smell the walls just to see, but, I'm not going to just do it while there's somebody standing there, because that might look a bit weird. But
you're investigating.
I'm going to smell the walls next time I go, just so I can answer that question and be like, no, the walls don't smell of fire, it's fine.
You'll be the official wall smeller for the team.
I will. That's my new title in the team now.
I don't know, it's just an idea, but maybe,
Kerry says, Kerry's in the green room. Hi, Kerry Greenaway. She said there is supposed to be 5 different smells associated with death. Ugh.
I don't want to know what they are, because I'm one of these people that panics. I don't want to know.
But that's interesting because, I mean, if you say you smell something and you die, I mean, that's where it would come from, I would imagine. But it's just, it is strange that you do get smells. And one of the most popular smells as well is sulfur.
Yes, I have experienced
the smell
that.
Of sulfur, have you?
Yeah, a couple of times. One of them.
That can also be connected to epilepsy. A lot of people that have epilepsy, before they have a fit, report that they smell and taste the sulfur.
But what about people when you're in a room and everybody in the room can smell it?
I've not experienced that personally.
I've experienced that once for definite, and possibly twice. Both at the same place, again at Dudley Castle. But there is, I won't go into it too much, but there is an energy there that they know about, like the zoo staff know about it and stuff like that. And we have had something happen, and then everybody could smell the sulfur, and it was following us as we were leaving, and it was like really overpowering. But yeah.
Another common smell is the smell of lavender. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, we've had that at Rye House. Yeah, in the main room upstairs, the whole room was engulfed in lavender smells when we were having a bit of activity up there. And there's no there's nothing up there that would give that smell off, and it was instant. It happened and then it went. I suppose it could be somebody's perfume, but it didn't seem like that. It seemed to engulf the whole room, and then move on.
Well, the smell of lavender is quite common because it was a perfume. People used to use lavender and then mix it with water and then create that kind of perfume, homemade perfume thing. So, it is an interesting thing because if you have got a scent and there is a spirit there, if we can see the clothing of the spirit, if we can feel their energy, then there's no reason why we cannot smell their essence. It's a sense, after all. I mean, we've got to rely on our senses when we're doing these things. So, I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be able to smell a spirit. That has to be, part of the course. Sulphur is linked with demons, which is another death smell.
Yeah,
I've heard that before many times, and there's loads of smells been associated with paranormal activity. But it's not as widely reported as one would hope, which is a real shame. So it'll be good to see if there's a database out there of the kind of smells that one is likely to experience. I'll have a look on Google for that.
Well, have you ever... Because a lot of my friends or a lot of the people that I grew up with aren't really into the paranormal. Everybody, no matter what anybody says, everybody has a little bit of an interest in it because it's an intriguing topic. So everybody that I know growing up has always said, I was sat at home one day and I had this overpowering smell of my grandma's perfume, or, my grandpa always used to smoke cigarettes and it was the anniversary of his death and I could smell his cigarettes or something like that. So I think, even though it's not widely reported on, I think a lot of people that don't actually have anything to do with the paranormal world or investigating or anything like that, I think a lot of people are actually aware that that's a sign of the paranormal, because I have so many people tell me about smells that are related to people that they know or things that are happening in their house or something like that.
Well, you said cigar smoke. Cigar smoke is quite popular. Pipe smoking.
You get that more with medium nights and things like that. When people go to talk to their dead relatives or whatever.
Yeah.
You get a lot of that. You could sit there at a medium night and probably 3 or 4 people go, "Oh yeah, I often smell my nan. She was like always had this particular perfume or whatever." So yeah, you tend to get that a lot at medium nights.
That's interesting.
I smelled my mum's perfume before, and she must have passed about 3 years before that point, and the perfume that she used to wear, I didn't have it in the house or anything. I was just lying in bed watching TV, and right in front of my face I could just smell her perfume, and it was sort of gone there and then gone again, like in an instant.
But it's the sort of thing in your mind. You can't conjure that. You can't create a smell in your mind, not that I'm aware of. So you do smell it, and you have to react to that because it is bizarre, and you automatically think, well, where did that come from? We don't know. We just don't know where it comes from. But I don't believe that we can manifest it somehow ourselves. Do you, Paul?
No, it's because at the end of the day, it is a smell. It's not actually connected. Although a person wears it, it's almost like why do ghosts wear clothes?
Yeah.
The clothes are inanimate objects. They haven't got a soul or anything. So why do ghosts appear with clothes on? Well, it's the same sort of thing. Because
the question is, Paul, that you're asking is why is it that when we see spirits, they're not naked?
Well,
I don't want to see that. I really don't need to see that when I go on an investigation. The last thing I want to see is a fat naked dude in the corner.
Henry VIII.
Yeah, Henry no.
No, but it's only because the ghosts are the spirits of obviously the deceased, and the clothes are inanimate objects. So why have they got a ghost as well?
It's not necessarily that they have a ghost, it's the way that the spirit is showing itself to you. The spirit, they're still going to, well, as far as we've gathered doing investigations, we still know that spirits think like their living self, and they still have the same personality as they did. So if they would have worn clothes in life, then they would show themselves to people with clothes on in death as well. If I die, I'm not going to go talk to my best friend completely naked. I'm going to put clothes on.
Oh, you are a right party pooper, you are.
No
Seriously,
one needs to see that.
a real party pooper.
Yeah, but I mean, even still though, it's where does the energy from the clothes come from?
Dunno.
That's a good point.
Good question.
But then again, you've also got things like for example, this photograph of Rye House that was in the press recently. It wasn't taken by me or my team. It was taken from the camera of a member of public who was at the investigation. She's a kind of semi-pro photographer. She's got lots of camera equipment, and she was just taking photographs on that night. It was 2 or 3 days afterwards that she contacted me and said, look, I've got this strange anomaly that I cannot explain. Although I did think it was you at first, I'm looking at it again and again, and I can see there's quite a few anomalies there that are not normal for me to pick up on a very expensive DSLR camera. So she sent that to us, and I said, well, that's significant for us because it's in a location where myself and another medium were both taken very ill. We've got that on tape. Also, there's other activity that's reported in that area as well. Black masses. We've heard noises in that area as well. So there's quite a few indicators that particular room is haunted. I'm not going to really mention it on air. I want you guys to find it for yourself when you go. But it is interesting because it's there, and it seems. Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems to be wearing a suit of armour, Gareth.
First of all, when I saw it, I saw what everybody else sees is a large face looking at you. But when I went to look at the brickwork after you showed me the photograph, you could see that where the eyes are, that people see that they think it's a person with a bald head. They're actually just the bricks, and they resemble sunglasses. And where the nose is, that is literally just the mortar in between the bricks. So when you look at it, you take that away and then look at it at the side view, you can see what I think you can see is like a helmet with the visor up. You can see the ruffle of a cloak around the neck. You can see the shoulder that actually comes out. It's almost 3D in the picture. And I could see it looked almost like a lion's face or an animal's face on the shoulder. And I did a bit of research on armour around the 15th century, and you had a lot of ornate shoulder armour at that time. Especially in England, you would have a lion on the shoulder. So that resembled to me, a plate mail with a lion's head on there. And if you look at the photograph carefully, you can actually see the eyes and the mouth of it. And then you've got the arm coming down, and then the torso seems to just disappear as it gets down to the leg. So it's interesting. But when I sent the photograph to 2 of the paranormal teams to give us their view, and both teams came back quite amazed by it, and said to them it looked like a manifestation. The photographs actually caught something manifesting, so that was really positive on that. Yeah, but it's very interesting. Very interesting. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a ghost, but that room is incredibly active. There was when your team were in there, where it affected yourself and another. We had 2 other paranormal teams in last year. One was Twilight Ghost Hunts, and in that room it was about 1:30 in the morning when we had a lot of activity. The K2 meters were going off, and bear in mind there's no electricals in that room, and as you know, Mickey, there's nothing really there that can give off electromagnetic energy in the house, except for one of the rooms where you've got the lighting power. And the K2s were going off. We were getting intelligent responses on the glass, and the temperature really dropped. Everybody noticed how quickly the temperature dropped, and of course it's early in the morning and temperatures do drop, but this was incredibly notable. Everybody could feel it. And then suddenly the woman next to me, she must have been late 50s, early 60s, started to speak in tongues, just started to have a different voice. She had paid to come on the investigation. She wasn't part of Twilight Ghost Hunts. And suddenly she just dropped like a sack of potatoes, almost fainted. I got her outside. She didn't seem too shocked, get some fresh air, but there was a lot of activity in that room. And then you did your investigation, I think it was on the 24th of October, when you had your experiences there. And then I think it was the 14th of November, we had Beyond Paranormal, paranormal group go in there, and they had exactly the same experience where one of their team collapsed in that room and was speaking in tongues. So there's 3 different groups that have had a lot of activity in that room. I do make sure I don't tell anybody about, I made sure when we had the investigations last year about what we had picked up, because I really wanted to see what they picked up and see if it could clarify and prove what activities taking place there. And it has. It's been quite impressive getting that information. I've made sure I've logged everything. So yeah, it's interesting. But definitely that room seems to be the center of the activity in the building. And I told you about the dungeon, didn't I, Mick? The dungeon is flooded, and we have never been down there for quite a few years. And I pumped it out, got some pumps in there and got it all pumped out, ready for the Twilight Ghost Hunts to go in, because they wanted to go down and investigate the dungeons. And ever since they've done that, there's been a more oppressive atmosphere in that building. Yeah. There's been more aggressive activity, not felt by me, but felt by other teams in there, which we didn't pick up when you first did your investigation was it the 6th of June last year? We didn't pick up on any negative activity then. But as soon as I pumped out that dungeon, things have changed. It's sort of messed up with the energies in there, I assume. So yeah, there's a lot more activity going on there now.
Oh, I can't wait to go back. In fact, talking of going back, I think I know Paul wants to go and come and do a little thing in there where we're going to broadcast live from Rye House. Paul?
Yep, that's right.
You want to do that as well, don't you?
Yeah, basically what we want to do is come down and do a live show from Rye House, and we'll also, as well as myself, Mickey, Steve, and maybe one of the girls, Ellie or Sherry, want to come down as well. And maybe if we have a competition winner, maybe they can come and join us as well. So it'll be the 5 of us.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good, Gareth. If we can talk about that maybe some stage, get our guys involved and come down and do a live show. That'd be fantastic. I'd enjoy that.
Yeah. That should be good. And what we found out is that the small groups in there get the most activity. Larger groups, when they go in there, I don't know if it just messes with the energy and things aren't as forthcoming. But if you've got a group of 4 or 5, the activity is quite strong. So keep it a small group. That's what you want to do.
We'll definitely keep it a small group. We've got like 5 minutes left, so it gives me enough time to tell you what's going on kind of next week. Well, next week we don't have a show on Monday because Sherry was feeling really cold and a little bit scared in the studio on her own on a Monday. So
Thanks
she's
for giving
now...
away my secrets, Nikki. Appreciate
sorry. It is quite dark, and bearing in mind we're in a dungeon of a secret castle, I can understand those fears. But also, Monday, there's no Monday show at the moment. There is Tuesday. Tuesday night is Rachel Darby and Claire Evans, and they'll be talking to us this week. I'm not sure what this week was, but last week was Myths and Legends. They were talking about Bigfoot. Interesting show. Also, you guys, Paul and Steve, last week's show was amazing, but your next week's show is even better. Do you want to elaborate quickly for 1 minute? Elaborate on that.
We was going along on the old Google and Facebook and stuff, and Steve found an article about ghost sex. So we're going to be talking about ghost sex.
Yeah, well, I hope they're naked.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe we can find an answer to why ghosts wear clothes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or maybe why they don't, why they shouldn't wear clothes. But it is interesting. That's coming up Wednesday. On Thursday, not sure what's happening on Thursday because that actually is going to be moving to England soon. But because of the time difference, we've lost our Thursday night show for the meantime. Okay, so don't worry, because I'll be back on Friday with this.
This is NLPI Radio. You're listening to NLPI Radio.
All those years ago when you couldn't sleep, remember the dream?
Tune in to the Friday Night Paranormal Show each and every Friday night at 9 p.m. Presented by Nikki Gocool and guests. You can call in via Skype and join us live on air. Live discussions about the paranormal, ghost stories, UFO encounters, ancient alien technology, conspiracy theories, exposing the frauds, and local urban legends. For more details, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/North London Paranormal Investigations Radio.
Thank you, Emily, for that one. It's another show wrapped up for tonight. I've got to say very, 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 very big round of applause and thank you to Gareth Winn. Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight.
Cheers, mate.
That was unbelievable little attempt. I should really put my round of applause in there. But thank you so much, Gareth, for coming along tonight. Absolutely a wealth of information. Now, Rye House Gatehouse is open on Sundays.
It's on Sunday. Yeah, it's open on Sunday from 11 till 4, and it's every Sunday up until September. So we only open it for a few hours on a Sunday. So if you want to come down, have a look. It's free to come in, have a look around, and see if you can pick up any paranormal activity.
And log it down if you do pick it up. Sherry, not enough time, but whatever you do this weekend, Sherry, don't forget to come back next week and tell us all about it, and we'll give you updates on 30 East Drive and our impending doom trip to that paranormal house of evil, if we make it back. But in the meantime, but thanks very much, guys, for joining me this Friday night. Have yourself a very, very brilliant weekend, and I'm gonna. Shall I play you out with that song again?
No.
Yeah, go for it.
Shall I do it? Let's do it for Steve. All right, Steve, this is just for you. Have a good weekend, ladies and gents. Bye. Good night. God bless. Bye.
I know you know that I say it while I'm on GTA online. I'll have bits and bobs and I'll say it a couple of 100 times. So let me please let me say it again tonight. 'Cause I need one more shot at what's in the box. Is it not cool to say bits and bobbies? 'Cause I'm missing it more than your body. Is it not cool to say bits and bobbies? Yeah, I know that I say it loads. Is it okay to say boobies now? My name is Steve and my butt cheeks are tight from the lemons I squeezed. I would have put it on Periscope if I hadn't done a poo. I'll go and I'll go and I'll do another poo. Oh, say the words, bits and boobies. Boobies? Is it not cool to say bits and bobbies? 'Cause I'm missing it more than your body. Is it not cool to say bits and bobbies? Yeah, I know that I say it loads. Is it okay to say boobies now? Bobbies. Bits and bobbies. Bits and bobbies. Yeah, I know that I say it loads. Is it okay to say bits and boobies now? My name is Steve and they call me BBC Collier. You know I try but I just can't help saying bits and bobs. Hope don't go on and on 'cause I really need a pee. 'Cause I need one more shot at what's in the box. I know you know that I say it while I'm on GTA Online. I'll have bits and bobs and I'll say it a couple of 100 times. So let me please let me say it again tonight. 'Cause I need one more shot at what's in the box.